I am editing a photo of the wonderful Max. He sent this image. This is a new series that I want to do where I edit your photographs. So if you want to have an opportunity to send me photos, send them to infantecritique@gmail.com and I'll come in and edit your photos. So I'm going to just kind of start off this image. Let me just make sure that I'm live real quick. Am I live? Yes, I am. Wonderful. So once again, I'm editing a photo here of Max and looking at the image to start off, I'm noticing that I'm going to want to bring out these brown tones when I get into Photoshop, and these little greens over here. Super beautiful image. I believe he said this was on a trip that he did with his girlfriend, but nice and sharp. Love the color in the eyes. This is going to be a super fun image to go in and edit. So it's going to be super cool. So there we go. And I got about 29 people watching now. Good. I just wanted to make sure that I was live. It wasn't showing up on my screen, but now it is. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down this contrast. I'm doing it in Camera Raw just because I didn't want to take it into Capture One because I wanted to make this quick. I didn't want to import it and all that stuff. So I'm going to bring back some of this highlight detail for sure. I'm going to bring that back. And I tend to like to go with less contrast to start off. And then I will bring that contrast back into Photoshop. So what's up, guys? What's up? Todo el pedo, you got it, man. Those of you that are just joining, I'm here editing images from you guys. Once again, please send me your images to Infante Critique and see how this series does. Thought it would be kind of fun. So I'm going to bring up the highlights a little bit. I'm going to use the mouse on the keyboard to bring up the highlights, or do I want to bring it down? I think I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, right about there. It looks fine. Sharpening, I'm going to bring that up to about maybe 65. And let's get to the HSL. So I don't want to bring this up too much because then her skin starts to look a little bit overexposed. For the Nikon D610, I'm not sure which lens, man. I don't use Nikon a lot, or I started with Nikon, but haven't used it since. I would say just choose something that fits your style, man. Something like the 35 would be my lens that I would choose. But it's, like I said, it's going to be totally up to you. So I'm going to bring back some of the detail here in the yellows. I'm just bringing this back down to the left because I want to add some of that darkness up there. And then the greens, we're going to do that as well. Bring it down. Let's see if there's any aquas, and there is. So I'm going to bring some of those blues back. Is there any blues? And there is, but we're not going to bring it back too much. Her skin seems to be falling in the red, so I'm going to bring that down just a little bit. This looks like a natural light shot. It definitely has to be because he said he was on a trip, Max here. And if I zoom into the eyes, you'll see that you got those nice catch lights and everything. So that's actually one of my favorite things about shooting natural light. You really get to preserve the nice color in the eyes. When you shoot high-speed sync, if you don't have your shutter speed correct and you're trying to expose too much for the background, the eye color gets really dark and you lose a lot of the detail. So that's one of the things that I've noticed. I'm just going to add just a little vignette to start off. Let me just change the song here. I got music on my end. Sorry, guys, there's no music on your end. But I got to have my music playing when I'm editing. Like, I could have some music playing and stuff, but I'm not going to get into my vibe. I can't play my music because copyright reasons and stuff. So when I get into this section here, calibration, I like to just play around with these sliders to see what looks good. I wish I could tell you that there's like certain set numbers that you should use, but it's really just comes down to personal preference. So just move these sliders back and forth. And my goal here when I'm starting in RAW is I'm not going to try to push the colors too much. I just want to get a good base. So when I get into Photoshop, I can start pushing things. Where do we have to send the photos? Hey, what's up, Sethi? Send them to infantecritique@gmail.com. Yes. So I'm also going to upgrade like this YouTube live editing. So pretty soon I'm going to have a camera so you can see my face. I'm going to have some pop-ups. So I know people are going to be asking me where they want this stuff to submit and stuff. So I'm going to make some graphics and all that stuff. I just haven't made the time to do it. So the temperature, I'm noticing that the straight out of camera came a little bit on the cooler side. I'm more of a warmer type person. So I'm actually going to go a little bit more to the right. And as I push it, it's really adding those brown tones and those greens that I was talking about earlier. The only problem when I do this is that it's doing it to the entire image. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come over here to the adjustment brush. And I am going to brush, and I'm going to check my settings. I'm still kind of new to this Capture One, Camera Raw. So I know this is like a new update. So I am going to start brushing where I want that adjustment to appear, which is everywhere besides where she is located. So I want the background basically. And if I'm not mistaken, I should be able to hover over this if I'm not mistaken. Nothing showed up, but let me see if I can turn it. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. Auto mask. Yeah, I need to play around with this more, but I could have swore when you hover over it, it shows you where it's gonna like be. But anyways, I can do that. And I think a little bit showed up on the face, so I'm gonna remove it from the face. Is it this one? Ah, there we go. Okay, there, yay, I figured it out. Cool beans. And I don't have to be too precise here. I'm just going to come in here. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you've tried out this new Camera Raw. Right now, at first impressions, it seems to run a little bit smoother. It seemed a little laggy in the older version. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, I'm definitely liking that. So we're gonna go about maybe 7. So super cool. Let's take a look at the before and after. So it's just the before and after, just in God, I keep wanting to say Capture One in Camera Raw. I like where I'm going with the color so far. Everything's looking pretty neat. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just double checking some stuff. What else do I might want to do? No, I think we're good. So I'm going to open it. We're going to go into Photoshop and we're going to get into some of the color grading and all that good stuff. I don't know if it made those changes that I just did right now. It felt like it didn't. I can't tell. Let me see if I can open up that image back up real quick. I can't tell. So I'm going to come back over here. I think it was this one here. Okay, I guess apparently it did. Okay, I guess apparently it did. I don't think it did. It feels like some of the colors I added are not there, but it'll be all right. We'll just jump into the Photoshop. So we're gonna run my cleanup layer and let's get into frequency separation. Have some music. I know, Seth. I know, man. Sorry, man. Can you write your email here? Yeah, let me do that real quick. So 1 second, guys. I'm gonna write my email so people can know where to send these images to. There you go. There's the email, so you guys can send them. We got a question here from Richie. It says, "Hey Eli, how are you? I'm doing great. Would you rather upgrade from a crop sensor to the EOS ARM or the R5 for pictures?" I would upgrade to the R6. Looking at today's announcements with the R5 and R6, both cameras are great, but I think the R5, it's overkill for a lot of people, depending on the content that you do. So for people that are like, that are doing YouTube, that need that, 4K, that need that 8K, then absolutely it's amazing. But if you're not going to use that, then you'll be just fine with the R6. I was just talking with my friend a while ago, and he was telling me that he's gonna buy the R6 instead of the R5 for that reason. And with the money he's gonna save, he's gonna go ahead and buy the 85 1.2 RF lens. So super cool. So what's great about this image, I just set kind of like my base for the blur and the color. I'm gonna come in here. What's great is that really the only skin that's showing up in this image is gonna be a pretty quick edit. There's no skin here because of what she's wearing. So I'm really just gonna have to focus on the face. She has nice skin, so I don't really have to do a lot. There are some areas with the hair that I'm gonna adjust a little bit. So I'm on the texture layer. I'm gonna go to the clone stamp and current. Once again, guys, this image was submitted by Max. This is not my image, but he sent it maybe within the past hour. I did announce it on Instagram if you guys wanted me to edit your images, and he sent me some of his RAWs. This was from a trip he did with his girlfriend out in Japan. So when I saw the image, I was like, oh, this looks like a fun image, a little bit different than what I do. I don't do a lot of natural light, even though I plan on doing more natural light. I might even actually, I'm gonna shoot today. And the plan is to shoot half of the shoot natural light and the other half strobe. I'm trying to be more dimensional when I'm shooting, trying not to just do the same thing because I want to be more diverse as a photographer. So I want to get better with natural light. And so that's the plan, at least for today. What about you guys? Do you guys shoot natural light, strobe? What is your preference? Those of you guys that are watching, there's about 43 of you guys here on YouTube. What do you guys like? We're also going to use the FJ400 today as well. The plan is to do a one light setup only. Keep it simple. I know sometimes we want to bring a lot of lights, but just keep it simple. Okay, so I'm not going to get rid of all that hair there. I actually like that it is there. I'm going to get just rid of some of these flyaways. If you start to get a lot of the flyaways away, it starts to look unnatural. So I'm just going to try to get rid of some of them. I'm going to check the comments in a little bit, guys. I can see that you guys are writing stuff in. Ooh, I'm definitely going to get rid of this little string here. Let me see if this is a part of the texture here. So it is. Awesome. And this is why I love frequency separation, because it makes it 10 times easier to kind of go through this. I'm going to zoom out here now. There's another little piece over here that we're going to clear up. And we have another little part here as well. So I'm going to do that as well. So let's take a look. What do we got on the questions here? Started using Capture One instead of Lightroom. Awesome. How are you liking it, Seth, man? What do you think so far? Hey, what's up, Adrian? ¿Qué onda, dude? I'm gonna shoot today, man. If you want to join, send me a DM on Instagram, man. Let me know if you want to just come out and shoot and have some fun, man. Gonna shoot out in McAllen if you want to join. I know that I was supposed to join you for the Sal del Rey shoot, but I couldn't make it after all. Decided to spend some time with my girlfriend. I'm just gonna get a couple more of this hair stuff out of the way. I use natural light and speed light with small octa now. Use 2 strobes. Yeah, man. I'm actually, Adrian, it's funny, dude, that I was wanting to buy a smaller softbox today. I'm probably gonna buy it. I want to buy the Westcott 26-inch softbox, and I want to buy that because I want to get better with the smaller modifiers. And yesterday was a crazy windy day. I was shooting with my friend Marco, and it was insane. The wind, it was horrible. I've never experienced that kind of wind in a while. It was insane. And we were using the 36-inch. It's still a relatively small modifier, but I want to get an even smaller one just to have. So I want to get the Westcott one. And I'll have the whole Trinity. I'll have the 48-inch, 36-inch, and then I think it's the 26, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so that's looking pretty cool so far. So this is what we have so far. RA just cleaned up that. Now I'm going to go into the skin. I don't think I'm going to have too much to do with the skin. I'm going to get rid of this contrast layer. I don't need it for this one, I don't think. So I am going to just reduce the contrast so that I can see if there's any areas that I need to adjust. But Max did a hell of a job shooting this. I mean, it looks freaking pretty much spot on. I don't even think, I'm just going to do a little bit, and I'm going to do more frequency separation, dodge and burn on this. Just going to kind of soften up these shadows a little bit. And Max, if you're watching this or watch it later when I put it on YouTube and IGTV, did a heck of a job with the exposure, man. Didn't even have to do much here. So that's it for frequency separation. Probably going to spend a little bit more time with dodge and burn. So let's get into dodge and burn. I'm going to run that. Oh, loser. Just ran the dodge. I have to run the dodge and burn action. What else we got here? It says, I'll get bored from dodge and burn with 1% flow on Wacom tablet. Should I upgrade? Continue to, on the second comment, how can I get inspired to continue practicing the 1% flow of dodge and burn? So Rage, what I would do, man, is if you're getting really tired of doing the dodge and burn and it's really tedious, man, consider spending most of your time doing frequency separation. There's some amazing photographers like Danny Batista who do more frequency separation, but Danny does a hell of a job of making it look natural. I wish I could be as good as him when it comes to using the frequency separation. But you should follow him on Instagram if you're not following Danny Batista. He has some amazing content. So check him out, dude. And that would be our alternative, man. Lately, I've been trying to do less dodge and burn. Every once in a while, I'll have the habit of maybe doing a little bit overboard. So I've been trying to simplify it, leaving a little bit more imperfections to make it seem natural. So, like I said, this image doesn't really need a lot of dodge and burn. It's insane. So the one thing I am going to adjust here is this stuff here. I know that you guys probably can't see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more than I'm used to. I need to figure out why on my screen sometimes the cursor, it's kind of hard to see, especially when I'm doing dodge and burn. So I apologize up front if you can't see it, because it kind of blends into the image. I wish I could make my cursor like red or something so that you guys could see it in Photoshop. Maybe there is an option. Let me know if there is an option to change that. But that's why it's hard to see, because it blends because it's black and white, and then the cursor is black with the circle. So okay, So let's take a look at some of the comments here. HDR sliders performs differently in Lightroom and Capture One. Yes, it does, man. Awesome. Isn't the R5 better picture quality than the 45 megapixels in the R6? Well, it is technically if you need those megapixels. If you don't need them, then it's kind of like wasted megapixels. I know some people like it for editing, and it will help for editing, or if you like to crop in, or if you just want that flexibility to do that, then the R5 is the way to go. But the way I look at it is that most people nowadays, depending, you have to answer this question to yourself: is are you going to be printing the work, or are you just going to be putting it on Instagram? If you're just going to be putting it on Instagram, then the megapixels, you're going to make it smaller so that it fits on Instagram's kind of dimensions and stuff. So in a sense, it might not be as useful as you might think. But like I said, it depends also if you're going to crop in the images and if you like the flexibility of seeing all that detail. So it really is up to you as an editor. Like I know my friend Marco, he loves the A7R3, and that's his like go-to. And I think that camera is like 42 megapixels. I use the A7 III, but it's really up to you. I can't really tell you what camera to use. It's going to matter on your style. But both cameras should be good. Looking at the specs and all the stuff that the videos put out, they're really awesome. I would check out the video. I think the person that's done the best video on the R5 and R6 is Irene Rudnick. She does more of a practical, real world kind of preview. Everybody else is doing like the specs, and she's actually using it in a photo shoot, and she's also talking about the editing process on how the raw files look like and stuff. So I think she did a hell of a job. So you should check out her video, Irene Rudnick. So I think I'm done with the skin retouching. Honestly, there really wasn't much to really do here. So I'm going to work on the eyes. So I'm going to rename this eyes, if I know how to spell. There we go. Let's go like maybe 3% flow. Typically I have to bring the flow up more because when I do strobe, the eyes kind of are underexposed, but the eyes are like exposed perfectly. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit more exposure onto these eyes, not too much. The eyes already look great straight out of camera. But going back to the R5 and R6, I'm definitely going to rent it when they do become available. Would love to try out those cameras. I rented the EOS R when those were released, and I really enjoyed those cameras, or that camera with the 50mm 1.2. Super awesome. So I'm going to rent it again, the R system, but I want to rent it this time with the 85 1.2. Because at the time that I rented it, they only had the 50. They didn't have the 85 at the time, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of global. Let's go dodge and then burn here. Let's see what we have here. I'm going to make this hair pop just a little bit more. Let's go about 7% flow here. You'll DM me in a bit, have one as well, Bishop. Maybe we can use 2 models. Yeah, it's up to you, man. If anything, Adrian, dude, we can just shoot another day, man. It's no biggie, man. I'm going to start setting up some more shoots. I'm going to take a break after today, but, we can always set something up, man, another day, because I know that my model is going to bring some of her friends, and especially with the situation we're dealing with now, she's going to bring like 2 friends plus her. That's 3. And then I'm going to have my friend Marco there. So that's going to be 5. And then I didn't want to have too many people at once just to be safe. So I think it'd be better if we wait on another day, man, so that we can have not too many people. All right, I'm gonna go into my burn now. I'm gonna come into the hair. And I'm trying to darken areas that are already dark so I can make certain things pop. And I'm gonna darken up the jacket a little bit, or sweater, I should say. Perfect. I know I want to darken up some of this stuff too. There we go. So just adding a little bit of depth there. That looks good. So I can't wait to get to the color grading part. I feel like this image has a lot of potential when it comes to the color grading. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm gonna decrease this burn. I feel like it's a little too much. Let's go about maybe like 65. Just to be on the safe side. 66. Photoshop doesn't want to cooperate. But it is what it is. All right, so we're done with that. Let's go to the skin tone now. And I am just going to worry about the skin. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. Hopefully you guys can see this. So I'm definitely going to make it more red. I'm going to drag it to the left. Make it a little bit more magenta. And then add a little bit of those yellow tones. And I definitely want to bring up the blacks. Just add a little bit of contrast to the skin. And we'll go into the yellows. We're just going to add a little bit of reds. Same thing with the magentas. You know what? I wonder what, I think he shot this. Now that I'm looking at this image, I think he shot this with like a high megapixel camera because my computer's getting slow and I'm like, why is it slow? And I think it's because of the megapixels. Yeah, we'll stay in touch, Adrian, man. Don't worry, man. We'll set up a shoot soon, dude. If anything, maybe me and you can get together and we can see what model maybe we can shoot with next week, man. Or Saturday or something. Or Friday or mañanas. Gotta whip out the pen for all the advice and editing skills. Hey, Max. Max is here. What's up, dude? Thank you for sending the image, dude. It's a beautiful image, man. Eli, I sent you a photo too. Awesome. Well, if I have a chance tomorrow, I will edit another one tomorrow live. I agree, Seth. Yeah, so the megapixels doesn't matter. If you're the kind of person that's going to get it right in camera, then I agree that you don't need all those high megapixels, okay? So this is the skin. I like what it did to the background too, so I'm not going to actually mask it out. Some people might get mad at me because I didn't mask it out, but I actually like what it did to the background just a little bit. And the face is looking good. So this is what we've done so far. This is the before and then after so far. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. Didn't have to do too much because Max did a heck of a job of shooting this, exposing for it. But now I'm going to do selective color one more time. But this time I'm going to for sure focus on the background. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do select and then subject. And Photoshop should do a good job. I think they just updated this, and yeah, it did a good job. I don't really care that it has the hair off a little bit there and here. That's no biggie. I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna feather it though, because I wanted to have a soft edge. 70 is gonna be good for me. And what I wanna do is I wanna fill this. So I'm gonna push Shift F5. Shift F5, and nothing happens. And I get embarrassed in front of everybody online. There we go. And now I wanna fill it with black. So now look at my mask. So those of you that are maybe beginner level and you're like, what in the hell is this guy doing? Slow down, Eli. So what I did is I made a selection. I went to select and then select subject. And once I had the selection of the model, or Max's girlfriend in this case, I pushed Shift F5 so that I can get the menu so that I could then fill it with black, that mask. So I had the mask selected. So because that area now is filled with black, when I make my adjustments now, I'm only gonna be adjusting the background. So I'm gonna go a little crazy here. So you'll see this. Now I'm only gonna adjust the background and not gonna manipulate her. So that was a fast way of making the selection. So this is the fun part now. I have to decide if I wanna go this kind of like autumn type feel, or do I wanna go with this like high green contrast here? So this is gonna be super interesting. I know one of the things that I wanted to do at the very beginning, if you guys were here, I mentioned that I wanna make this more brown. So I might have to do two masks. One so that I can specifically color grade these brown tones, and then another one just on these greens. So I don't know exactly where I wanna go with this. Me personally, I actually think I like the greens. Typically I would go into the kind of golden tones, but I like those greens. I think it works really well with this image. So I'm actually gonna make those greens pop just a little bit more. What's up, guys? Great portrait. Max, yes, Max did a heck of a job with this portrait. So I'm gonna go magenta here. And I'm just gonna add a little bit. Perfect. And we're gonna go yellows. I'm definitely gonna add more yellows into that. And then gonna add contrast to that. So I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna come into the green, see if this does any adjustments, and it does. So I'm gonna go add a little bit more contrast here. Drag that to the right. Okay, so we got that. What if I go into the neutrals? And I'm just gonna make it just a little bit more contrast. Nope, not gonna add any of that. And we're just gonna add a little bit of that. So let me take a look at the before and after. So I definitely love the colors there. So if you kind of pay attention to like these areas, I'm gonna push Z in the keyboard to zoom in. What you're going to see now is the color grading that I did just on that background right there. Definitely liking that. You're welcome, Max. Yeah, I'll leave this up live and I'll probably put it on my IGTV too as well, man. Once again, appreciate you sending out the image, man. You the real MVP, man. Couldn't have done this without you, man. So thank you. So I'm gonna go into the whites as well, see what we got here. Nothing really happening for me there. I'll add just a little bit there. What else? Maybe the reds. I think maybe these brown tones are going to be in the reds. Let's find out. And they are. So I'm going to play around with the color some more. And remember, I'm kind of editing here on the fly. I didn't really have a plan. A lot of times when I'm editing, I like to freestyle. When I'm editing, I don't really have like a set kind of like rules, I guess you could say. I kind of just go with what looks good to me. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I have to edit, take a break, come back, and then I'm like, oh, damn, that looks terrible. And I have to kind of tweak something. So keep that in mind. But I like what I did with the background. Everything's looking great so far. So definitely liking that. Super cool. So now I'm going to come into the color balance. So I'm going to run that. What I'm going to do is I am going to go into Lumenzia, and I know I want to do a blend if option here. So I'm going to go if under, I'm going to go darks 4. And good, so I already made that. And now I'm gonna come into my shadows. And so definitely want to add a little bit of blues, not too much, because then it's gonna change the colors too much there. So I'm gonna go into the magentas and then see if I wanna go more on the red side, which I don't. So I'm just gonna leave that as is. Midtones, nah. And I'm gonna do another color balance. And we're gonna do the lights too. And then now I'm gonna come into highlights. I'm definitely going to add a little bit more yellows and a little bit more reds into my lights too selection. So that's looking good. We're gonna increase that a little bit more. Nice. So I like that. Cool beans. Also gonna add another curves here. You can never go wrong with adding more curves. I'm gonna do darks too. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a little bit more pop. Right there, I like that. I'm actually gonna bring it up just a little bit, right about there. Cool beans. Let's take a look at what we've done so far. I like where this image is going. I kind of mentioned at the beginning that I knew that I was gonna wanna add more greens here, make this a little bit more brown. I'm still gonna push it some more in a little bit. We're gonna get there. My thoughts on the Insta Reel. What is that? The Insta Reel, I've never heard of that. Maybe I'm confused, but let me know. Hey man, great idea for YouTube videos. Thank you so much, Nathaniel. Once again, guys, you wanna submit images, send them to Infante Critique. Hey, like, thanks for the live sessions from India. You're welcome. These live sessions are only gonna get better, guys, by the way. I'm gonna eventually get my camera hooked up. I have like a Stream Deck, so I'm gonna be switching the camera to my face. I'll have some graphics pop up and stuff like that. So all that stuff is in the development right now. It's just real basic. You just hear my voice and you see my screen, but we're gonna make it more interactive. We're gonna make it more fun. I just need to make some time to set that up. But I'm loving the image so far. It's looking beautiful. Let's get back to the image. Let's take a look at the gradient map skin tone. Let's see if we need this. Don't always need it. I like it for this image. Definitely only gonna mask it in on her hair and her face. So I'm going to press Control I. So invert that so it's black. So that means that effect that I just applied, which is this gradient here, guys, by the way. I'm just going to brush that in on the skin. That's gonna help me get more even tonality in the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and just brush this in. And the skin tone already looked good, so I don't necessarily have to be super precise here. But it's just gonna help me kind of get that skin looking even better. Okay, so let me just click the before and after. So before and then after, yes. So as I zoom in, I did notice that her skin is more of in the blues and the magentas. And then when I added this, it kind of evens out nicely. So I'm gonna zoom out here. Definitely going to probably pull it back just a little bit, just so that I don't overdo it. So let's go about 35. I think that will look good. You know what? I'm gonna go even higher than that. Let's go 40. Cool beans. So we got that. The curves color grade. So at this point, this is where I start experimenting with stuff. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. So if it doesn't come out good, y'all can roast me if you want on YouTube. It's totally fine, but this is just my process. So now what I want to do is I want to experiment with the curves here, like the color grading. I want to push these colors a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with this panel that I just got. By all means, I am not like great at it. Still have a lot of experimenting to do with it, but I like it. It's pretty interesting. So this is kind of like my experimental kind of phase right here. Just kind of seeing where this is gonna, go. So I need to put create RGB. There we go. And I want to work with these shadowed areas. I want to add, I'm just looking at this specific area. I don't care that it's adding it to her face. I don't care that the color's being added into the up here. Okay, I'm just looking at this because I know I'm gonna mask this in and I'm gonna mask it in only to these specific areas. So I'm gonna get my shadows, I'm gonna deepen those up a little bit. And this is the before and after, and I definitely wanna do that. I'm gonna tone down that color, it is a little bit too much. I don't want it that orange. But I do wanna have that kind of golden rustic kind of color over here. So now I'm gonna push Control I, and I'm gonna have a low flow here. So I'm gonna bring this flow down. I'm gonna slowly build this up. I don't want it to look, you know, super obvious as I'm brushing it in. So now I'm gonna add that kind of orange, kind of rustic color into these areas here. Okay. There we go. And don't worry, I'm probably gonna lower the opacity as well. So this is the before and then the after. So definitely gonna lower the opacity. I think I just wanted to bring it up just a little bit. Let's go 50. Let's try that. Let's go 40. Perfect. Now I'm gonna look at the greens up here. I'm gonna add another one. I'm gonna go create RGB. This will probably fall in the midtones, so let me see if I can add even more greens. I think that's too much here. Let's take a look at this before and then after up there. It's looking nice. I want them to be a little bit more contrasty. That's looking better. What's cool is as I'm messing around with this color wheel, by the way, guys, it's automatically adding these bends for me in the red, greens, and blues. So that's what I really like about it. Like I said, I'm still new to it, still playing around with it some more. So I'm gonna invert this and I'm gonna brush those greens only in these areas up here, slowly kind of just emphasizing those greens. I like it. Super cool. So I'm gonna combine those layers. Let me just show you what I did there. So before and then after, making those colors pop. Woo, they're popping. I'm digging it. What do you guys think on the comments? Am I pushing it too much? Am I getting chiflado? Let me know. I do get chiflado sometimes, so let me know. Oh, TikTok plus Insta Reel. Oh, I have no idea. I knew that there was issues with TikTok. I didn't know there was issues with Instagram. Hopefully Instagram doesn't have issues, but it's okay. I have my YouTube as a fallback plan. Says your skin tones are very perfect. Each and every image I was trying to enable to do it on my image. So in order to get your skin tones looking good, I think the best option is the gradient map. The gradient map, I think, is the best one. So damn, I'm liking this. This is exactly where I wanted this image to go. If you were watching since the beginning, I had told you guys that I wanted to make these greens pop a little bit more, and I wanted these brown tones to come out. I don't want to push them too much because then it's going to, not look that good. So I'm just gonna eyeball it a little bit more. So far, I'm digging it. I'm gonna leave it. Screw it. I'm just gonna put curves, color, grade. Let me start naming my layers. Let's get organized, Eli. Come on, get it together. Skin. Can't even spell. Boom. And this is all like color grading right here. Some more color grade stuff. And then we're gonna name this selective color background. Perfect. All right. Digging it. So now we're gonna add some more contrast. We're definitely gonna add contrast here in the front. So contrast, you should typically see it here in the front. Oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? There we go. Let's bring this all the way up. So typically what's closest to the camera is gonna have the most contrast. So I'm gonna try to add more contrast in the areas that are close to the camera. Just a little bit, looking nice. And now let's get into the raw Vato Loco. So I'm gonna push the play button here. You want more brown, more color. Oh, everybody wants more color. I am so sorry. I'm gonna go back. I'm over here running my raw Vato Loco and getting some more comments. So yeah, let's push it then. Let's do it. So let me delete this. Let's go back to the curves color grade. What I can do, at least my plan, is to duplicate this. So we'll have 2 copies of it. You guys are so damn smart. It does look good with more color. I'm gonna lower this though. I'm gonna put it like at 75. So I made a duplicate of those greens that I added. And let's add a duplicate, or no, we don't have to add a duplicate. I lowered the opacity here. So let's do 65, right about there. Let me get a new song going right now. Right now, I feel like I need a new song to kind of pump me up as we're getting into the more creative stuff. So there we go. That's my jam. Cool. So yeah, so I made some more adjustments. I pushed those colors a little bit more like you guys asked. I like it. Digging it. Thank you for the feedback, guys. I wish I was an expert, but you know, I appreciate feedback from you guys. So super cool. All right, let's get into the raw Vato Loco. Okay. So once I kind of got my image where I want to go, I'll merge everything, get into Camera Raw, and make some more adjustments there. So we'll see where I go with this image here. So let me just wait for it to load. There we go. Alrighty. So do I want to make it brighter? I think it looks fine where it's at. Do I want to add more contrast? I do, just a little bit. Whites. Highlights. Do I want to bring that down? I do, just a little bit. Let's go shadows. We'll leave the same. The blacks, we'll just do -1. I try not to push these areas too much. When I come back into here, let's bring up the clarity to 2. Color, we're not gonna push that because then, like I said, I have the habit of pushing it too much and then it's like, oh man, what are you thinking, Eli? Let's add like a subtle S curve here. What does it look like when I add a little subtle S curve? Yep, like it. Keeping it. Sharpen, I already did my sharpening, so I don't need to do that. I don't think I need to push the oranges anymore. I think they're fine. Let's go -1 here. Yellows, what do we got? Ooh, I like that. It's adding that glow in the background, so let's add that a little bit. Greens. I think I'm gonna brighten it up just a little bit. Love ColourPop. More great work, brother. Thank you, dude. What genre of music do you listen to while editing? Right now, I'm listening to Oasis, I'm listening to Tan Lines, and I'm listening to Doves. Those are some of my favorite bands. Sometimes I'll listen to some playlists on Spotify. Sometimes I typically like to listen to instrumental music. It really just depends. So I'm just going to add a little bit of blues into my highlights, not too much. And then in my shadows, we're going to add just a little bit of some of these brown tones. Yeah, we're going to add more brown tones. Good. Do I use Gaussian for frequency separation? No, I use the median method. Do I like Luminar? I like Luminar for sky replacement as far as like for editing and stuff. I kind of have my workflow that I like using Capture One and Photoshop, so it's kind of hard for me to kind of like make a full-time switch or find it in my workflow, but I feel like it works great for sky replacement. So I'm here in my blue primaries, this hue. When I drag this to the left, it adds those kind of bluish tones to it. So I'm really liking this. So we're just gonna drag it in just a little bit. So we'll go -5. I'm gonna bring up the colors a little bit and let's see what this does. I like dragging it to the right here. Sometimes if I feel like I'm pushing the colors too much right here on this red primary, I like to go negative. It's kind of like a way I like to kind of desaturate my images if I feel like I'm going too far. Like I said, there's times where I kind of get chiflado and I kind of screwed up. So I've noticed that that red primary saturation comes in the clutch. So let's take a look at the before and after here. I like where the colors went. They came out even more up here, and these browns are jumping even more. So it's looking good. The brown tones, you just adds a nice touch to the background. Yes, man, I absolutely agree, man. I'm really enjoying how they came out. It looks cool, man. What I'm gonna try to do here is I am gonna add a gradient filter. I'm gonna add one right about here to darken it up just a little bit, to put a little bit less attention over here. I'm gonna bring down the highlights as well. I'm gonna add another one here so that the attention goes more here. And then let me go back to the edit and let me see if I can play around with the temperature some more. I think I'll just go 1 on the worms and hit OK. And I'm liking that. It's looking super cool. So let's take a look at the whole progression here. So I'm going to zoom in. This is where we started. Then I did my frequency separation, which wasn't much. Really, all I did was kind of remove some of the strings that were on the sweater. Then I did my local dodge and burn, which once again wasn't much. I did my skin with selective color. We did a select subject on the subject. And then we masked in so that I can only color grade the background. Then we played around with some color grading using color balance. We came back to the skin, added a gradient map to just specifically the skin. Then we experimented with a curves color grade using this tool that I purchased. Then we added a little bit of contrast to the image on certain areas. Then we just finished it up with camera raw. And I'm really liking where this image is going. So let's continue. I think I'm pretty much almost done with this image, but I'm gonna experiment with some of these other actions that I've made myself that sometimes work and sometimes they don't. You just kind of have to work with it and experiment. So I'm gonna do my gradient map tone. Let's see how this looks. Gradient map tone. Looks okay. I don't know if I really need it. It's adding some contrast. I'm gonna say I don't need it. I'm not gonna force it. Let's try the red loom. Sometimes this comes in the clutch on certain images and others it doesn't need it. This one doesn't need it either, so we're gonna get rid of that. Honestly, I wanna say that this image is pretty much done. I think anything that I add anymore, I think it's gonna be overkill. So I'm gonna go to the detail sharpen. I'm definitely gonna come in here to the eyes and we're gonna sharpen the eyes. So I'm gonna brush once, that'll bring the detail out in the eyes, and then we'll come here into the eyelashes. So, and of course I'm gonna lower the opacity right now. If you looked at that and you're probably like, "Estelato, dude, it's too much sharpening." It's okay. I like to add a little bit more than I need, and then now I'll just come here with my opacity and we'll just pull it back. So maybe go about 65. Let's do my fade brush. And now what I wanna do here is I am going to try to maybe see if this is gonna work. Yes. lower the opacity here. Let's go about 50. All right, guys, to be honest, I think this image is almost done. It's pretty much done. Let me check the levels. Let me see what my histogram's showing here. It's showing it's fine. It's showing that my highlights, my bright areas are already nicely lit up. What if I bring my midtones down to the right? Ooh, okay, midtones, we're definitely gonna bring that down just a little bit. You know what, let's go 98. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It is done. We officially finished the image. What do you guys think? Leave some comments. Did Eli embarrass himself and humiliate himself here live? Does it look terrible? You can tell me. It's okay. You can roast me. What do you guys think? Before and after. Before and then after. Hey, Max, you just came back, dude. What do you think, man? I think I just finished the image. What do you think? How does it look, dude? It was a lot of fun editing this image. A lot of fun. Let me try one thing real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Let me see. Oh, you know what? The thing's back there. Forget it. I'm not going to do this. It's not going to work. Looks good. Awesome. So Brian's the only one that says it's looked good. I'm concerned now. I don't know if everybody else is like laughing and they're like, this guy just humiliated himself. I'm going to roast him right now. Okay, we got one more nice. Perfect. Thank you, Thomas. All small adjustments add up to something really awesome, man. So much better than my general sliding around in Lightroom. Simple, clean, looks great. Well, credit goes to Max. Like I said, Max did a hell of a job with the exposure and getting the shot. So yeah. So Max, if you don't mind, dude, I might post this on Instagram with your permission, of course. I'll give you credit. Might post it tomorrow just so that more people can start sending me their images and I can edit them. But I had so much fun editing this image. Let me see what it's going to look like with the 8x10 crop. So with the 8x10 crop, it would look something like, depending on where I want to crop it, of course. It would probably be maybe, I would crop maybe about right here. Depends. But yeah. You know, one thing that I didn't do that I'm looking back that I want to adjust is I want to adjust the sweater, because like the sweater can kind of create this kind of warpiness in the body. I'm going to come in here with the liquify. And I'm only doing this because of the sweater. It tends to kind of warp the body. So I'm going to just push in some of these areas so that it doesn't warp as much, especially back here. So I'm just going to slowly just push it in and kind of make it a little bit more smoother, so it doesn't feel like her back is kind of, you know, warped and stuff. There you go. So let me hit OK. Actually, let me show you the previous before and after. So not a lot of, you know, manipulation there with the liquify, but I just want to clean it up. Yep. That cleaned it up. Nice. I can even, you know what? I might even go back. I'm going to go back and let's make a little bit of adjustments on the hat. So now we're just kind of focused on the detailed areas. This is just me being picky. This is something that not everybody needs to do. But I'm definitely going to come in here and just make sure that the hat is kind of evened out a little bit. Awesome. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nathaniel. Looks like crap. Boom, roasted. Thank you, Nathaniel. Nah, he just put just JK, JK. He said good job. Thank you, Nathaniel. Appreciate the sarcasm, dude. All right, guys. I'm pretty much done. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll probably do another one tomorrow. Laters.